to. So the background or introduction, the materials and method, the result, the discussion, and the abstracts. So apparently there's still conclusion, but conclusion is just very, doesn't really matter. But these key 5 things I said are the really important thing. And at the end of the day, I'll be talking about journal selection. And let's say we've by the end of the day, by the end of this by the end of this whole workshop and everything, you've had the chance to like now compile a full manuscript and you want to submit. So I think the major thing that should be in your mind then where should I publish this work? How should I know which journal is right for me? I think when I was attending from Melody and from Adido, you guys were asking those questions. So I think I can give a little bit of more information regarding that. Okay, so the first thing, the background. So I also call it the introduction because I think that's a common name. So introduction. So what really happens in the introduction section of your manuscript or your research? So now, like someone now, this I saw a study. Someone said the effect of lactobacillus surveillance in E. coli, something like that. So now regarding that, now if I was to write an introduction on that, I think what I would want to try and understand is what is really happening. E. coli, microorganism. I'll try and introduce E. coli. I'll try and like what this has done, what this is implicated in, what is this, what previous studies have been done. So an introduction is like an overview, a literature review, I would say, a very short literature review, I would say, that covers previous work, your current work you're trying to do, what you try to hope, your hypothesis, what you hope you get, and you compare this whole studies together, the previous work and your current work. You try and say, oh, this is what is happening, this is what has been done, this is what I'm trying to do. So basically, what should my introduction or what should my background contain? So a brief literature review, it is very quick. It's very easy, short, concise. So I've seen literature, I've seen introduction of about a page, and I've seen introduction of about 3 pages too. So at least a page to 3 pages should be enough. It should be enough for an introduction. So I remember in an undergraduate thesis, in an undergraduate project, we usually like quite have like a whole lot. In fact, if I remember, our introduction is always the highest, the most, it has the most pages. So like I want to force it to make your work bulky. So just bulkiness and everything, you throw it away and you just need 3 pages. And those 3 pages, or you need 1 to 3 pages. Those pages should contain a brief literature review, the knowledge gap, and your contribution. So now I'm going to use a random study, for example. So let's say we want to check the effect of ethanolic extract of ginger on maybe diabetic rats or on rats or diabetic induced rats. So what I was trying to say is in my introduction, what my introduction should look at is introduction of diabetes 1. I can now start saying diabetes in relationship to the world. What is WHO saying about diabetes? Is diabetes causing deaths every day or something like that? I should say something like that. I can also bring it down or scale it down to Nigeria and say diabetes 2 is a major issue in Nigeria, right? I can now put that information down. So these are quick things you can write down your introduction. Also, you can see, is diabetes related to sex? Is it gender? Is it a gender specific disease? You check. You see, if somebody said women experience it more than men, you told them, you put all this kind of information. So information from various studies, you just like gather everything together and what you put in your introduction. So now, after we talked about diabetes, so remember I said ginger, ethanol extract of what? Ginger, right? So next now says, okay, ginger. What is this ginger plant and everything? Ginger plant is also known as what? So and so, right? And it has been reported to have what? This beneficial beneficial effects in so and so. It has been reported to have to help obesity, to help hypertension, to help so and so. Then you start making those reports that this person studied ginger to cure malaria. This person studied ginger to cure this. You start putting all this information together. You can now say, okay, at the end of everything, currently there is nobody that has done what ginger for what diabetes, and that is your knowledge gap. So everybody has done ginger for cancer, ginger for that, ginger for this, but nobody has done ginger for diabetes. Why is nobody doing it? So me, that's what I'm going to do, and that is your knowledge gap. And your contribution at the end of the day, you now hope, you say, I hope to what? We hope to see what the effect of what if ginger will be good for diabetes or if ginger will be this and this. But we've seen from potential studies that what ginger has been located in so and so pathway involved in diabetes, so and so in this involved in that. We feel and we hope that what ginger will be what's beneficial. And at the end of the whole day, you just give a brief summary of what you do and the introduction session. And I think that is quite it. That is quite it. So ethanolic extract of ginger on the what in diabetic rat. So I think what else I can add should be the rat models, but it might be nice to add rat models. I will talk about models for disease and models for experiment and everything, animal models for experiment, Drosophila, and you can just give a brief overview of why you're using rats, why you're doing this, and also you're inducing this thing. So how did you induce diabetes? Maybe by excess sucrose or by using there's a kind of drug I'm forgetting. So you just induce that with diabetes and you try and talk about the reason why you're doing that, why you use this, why did you not use this? These are just this whole thing that your introduction should contain. And so I tried to make this practical as possible. So what I did was I will bring your reviewers' comments that have queried my introduction, and I want you to guys to sit and let's look at it together. So look at this reviewer's comments now and look at the comments. So the person is asking, is the background literature section up to date and appropriate for the topic? You can see these are the questions when you submit your work for publication. These are the questions they want to know. They want to know if you did all these things. Now, is the background and literature section up to date and appropriate for this topic? Are the primary and secondary objectives clearly stated at the end of the introduction? Can you say your objective must be stated? What you hope to get should be stated. And does the introduction adequately identify the rationale of the study? Why are you doing this study? Oh, because there's nobody that's done ginger for what? For diabetes. That is why I'm doing this study. And look at what the reviewer said. The reviewer said what? Yes. So that means this introduction for this publication was great. There was no issue with this. Now let's look at someone else reviewer. This is another publication. So I got that this person was like, discuss for your introduction, discuss more details about this particular plant in the introduction section. So you can see, I did not do this. I remember when I was giving you a just quick example here, I told you about talking more about the plant. If this plant has been imported to do this, do that, do that, you can see. So discuss the rationale behind the selection. Why did you choose this plant? Why did you do? Somebody was talking about this camp. Somebody said Kano, doing pharmacy in Kano. So my question would be, why this particular section or why this particular area of Kano? These are the kind of questions you must put in what your introduction, your background, and also provide the justification for the selection of 5 hours. So these are just really, really examples of things you get or things you must do in your introduction, things your introduction must contain. So they're really, really, really important, and they're really, really important. And I think with all this, you can have a whole detailed 1 to 3 pages, and that is a very, very, very good introduction. So, like so we continue. So, the next stage is what the materials and methods. So in the publication, you start with your introduction. You write your introduction first. With the same way your research undergraduate thesis is chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. So chapter 1 is always introduction. Chapter 2, materials and method, and this thing. So the next thing is what materials and methods. So it is also called. It's popularly called materials and method to me, but I think the normal way is what methodology. So what methodology is trying to say is how did you do it? And the whole goal of research is reproducibility. So if you say you did this research, I want somebody else in Kano, in Canada, in Ghana or something to be able to repeat this same experiment and get the same thing. So this methodology, this is my favorite part of my favorite aspect or my favorite section of the publication, because immediately I get a new publication to read, I just jump straight to the methodology. What did you do? What exactly did you do new? What is the new thing you did there? And I would like trace, oh, this is a crazy thing. This is something new. Then I'll go and learn it or something like that. So methodology is a very, very, very important thing. And so what should your methodology contain? So now, giving back to our experiment, we said the anti-diabetic property of what do you call it, of ethanol extract of ginger in mice or in rats, in Wister rat or something. So now my materials are made. So materials now, because I did because this is something I'm going to spend my time in the lab, right? So I need to get test tubes, I need to get beakers, I need to get reagents, chemical reagents, and I need to analyze my results, right? I'll get some data from either use in vitro assays if I do in vivo assays. So if I do in vitro assays with the spectrophotometer, I should be able to get some numbers, and that numbers I should be able to translate them into tables and into what figures. So what software did you use? Um what software did you use? What kind of data did you get? What kind of things? So this materials and method basically tells you, oh, this chemical, I use this chemical. Who supplied it to chemical? So it's not like you tell them, oh, you can say we got it from the lab, right? But your lab actually got it from a very, very popular known supplier. So you say supplier. So what's like now currently in my field now, what I do is organic synthesis. So what we do is our chemicals, all of them come from, I think, Merck, Thermo and Fisher. So I'll just writing methanol, Merck, methanol, benzimidazole, Merck, something like that. So I'll just writing those compounds and the what and the company that would we supplied it. So and you sometimes I think you might attach a number and everything. So like now as I'm working now, I use an NMR. So the NMR machine, I must be able to write what the frequency of what of the NMR. So it's using a 60, we're using a 60 megahertz here, a 60 megahertz here, and all the other people abroad who use 400 megahertz, and I was like, oh, this one is 460, so it is way different, right? We should. So these things are really, really important when you are reporting your words, when you're doing your materials and method. The chemicals you use, the reagents you use, the machines you use, report everything. So that's just a section in the methodology part. You just write your materials and method. We use this, we use this, we use this, we use this, and it's very, very easy. And also, the next thing now is what? Okay, now you've written your materials you use. Now, how did you do the experiment? Let's start from the beginning. How did we do it now? So now, I think if I want to do this experiment now, what I will first do is what? I said ethanol extract, right? Of a particular, of ginger, right? So that means I will get the extract first. But before I get the extract first, I have to get ginger first. So the first step was I went to a market. Let's say I went to Unilag market and I got fresh ginger from so and so market woman. And that is one. That is acquisition of plant material or something like that. You can put in a subsection acquisition of plant material. No? And after you got it from the market woman, I think what they like to do is like they want you to verify that it is actually ginger that you're working with or the species of ginger you're working with. But let's just do with general ginger. So what people naturally do in Nigeria university is they now assign or they take that ginger to a plant chemistry, a plant biochemistry, like call it plant biochemistry. Or I think in Unilag it should be called forestry, but in other universities, forestry, plant science, biotechnology in my university, and is it not zoology? I think forestry. So you just take it to a department that deals in this thing, that deals with plant and all. So you take them and tell them to identify that this is actually what ginger. So when you identify this is actually ginger, in universities, what they do is they give you a voucher ID to say, oh yes, this person brought this thing to identify, and we actually identify it as what ginger. Good. So you can see your materials and method we are building up. So now we've gotten our ginger, we said this is ginger already. The next is what to get a ethanol extract out of it. So I think the next thing I would want to do is what I would want to match it. So I want to match it well. Then after matching it, I'll grind it, or break it, or cut it. Then I would soak ethanol or I'll pour ethanol into it. So now the number or the amount of ethanol I take, I pour into that beaker containing my ginger and all. I can just so instead of saying I poured ethanol into, how much ethanol did you pour into it? So you can say I put 500 milliliter of what ethanol into it. Then good. After you poured ethanol, what else did you do? Okay, oh, I left it for 2 days. After leaving for 2 days, 48 hours. So instead of saying 2 days, you report in hours or so. Left for 48 hours. After 48 hours, we filtered out and we got the extract. That is it. So that is how you have gotten your what? So that is the flow. You can see the whole flow like that. Then the next thing I want to do is what? Okay, I have my extract already. I have to acquire my rats too. So I'll tell we went to maybe a farm or something, or a licensed place to sell Wister rats, and we go Wister rats from there. We bought you can say 46, and also you can do your grouping. So again, your materials and method will contain your grouping. We divided into group A, group B, group C, the positive, the negative, the basal control, and we treated with two groups or so, different doses. And so, and also before I go forward, let me just explain what basal negative and positive control means. So basal control, in terms of this kind of experiment or any experiment you want to do, the basal control is, so a rat now. So if I want to check the effect of this ethanol extract on, or the effect of ethanol extract on of ginger on a particular rat. So that means the rat must have diabetes first before I test the therapeutic effect of it. So the first thing of the basal control will not, the rats will not be given anything. The rat will not be induced with diabetes, and to also not be treated with what? With ginger or the ethanol extract of ginger. So that basal control represents the actual physiological state of what the rats of a normal rat. So the positive control, now you're going to use any question, please? Any question? Um, okay, sorry, I'm
No
not able.
question, no question.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I think you can see my screen, please. Okay, good. So in basal control, I said you're not going to induce and you're not going to treat, right? So in positive control, you're going to actually induce, but you're going to use I would say, an FDA drug, or a drug that is known to what? To treat that particular diabetes or something, that group of animals. And in negative control, you're going to induce, but you're not going to what? Treat. So now this is the reason why you do all this is for comparison's sake. When you're doing a research, you want to compare. This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, and all. So another this thing. So when you do all this kind of thing, you group your rats into five or so. Then you write that in your materials and method. The next thing I want to do again is what? I have my extract already. The next thing is what? I want to induce my what? I want to induce diabetes in what? In my rats. So take those rats and induce diabetes with, I can't remember the particular name of that that compound again. So you will induce your rats with it, and good. So next thing you want to confirm is, you want to confirm if you are really sure that these rats have diabetes. So how will you confirm that? You can now do what? Maybe blood sugar level. You can take a blood sugar level test to check, oh yes, they have high level of what? Sugar in their blood. So automatically what? They have what? Diabetes. So now when you confirm all those, the next thing is what? To treat. When you do your treatment using what? Your different dose of ethanol extract, and boom, after you do that, you can do your in vitro assays, your in vivo assays, you see how you did it so again. And those steps, and please, it must follow each other. Your methodology is like the most important piece of your publication. And that's why I said I like it. Like I love it a lot, because it is actually following everything you did should like follow each other. Like I did this after you did, not like you report what you did last at the first position. No, you must arrange it chronologically. Like everything must follow through. Okay, so I talked about ethical approval, and I talked about ethical approval, and I said you must get approval from your listing. So if you're using VAT, I think currently now we want to reduce the amount of animals they use for lab testing and everything. So this ethical approval adjustment, and also reproducibility. So as I said, if you are pouring in 500 ml of ethanol, you say you measure this and you carefully measure. So carefully measure, that's a real thing. So just say you measured 500 milliliter of what? Ethanol into the distance. And also you report in past tense. So I did, we did, we saw, we did. So not we are saying something like that. So everything should be in what? Past tense and all. Okay. So as I always do, I want to show you how things have been done, or previous comments that we got regarding what materials and method. Okay, so are the study including, and also please can I confirm, are you seeing my screen, please?
Yes,
Yes,
I can
please.
see your screen.
Thank you very much. Okay, so are the study method including this applicable for what? Replicability and what? Reproducibility. So you can see this is the goal of what materials and method. The materials and method must they follow, they must understand it. Like anybody should pick it up and like, okay, yes, I can do this. Okay, this is what this person did. Okay. Oh, you just go to the lab, take this materials and method and go and do it. And that is what materials and method. It is the most important piece of your publication. the most important piece of your publication. If anybody is going to do any experiment regarding that, we should not have, which I will not say there should be like a difference, but the statistical difference between what the person should get and what you got should not be much, please. Okay, and statistical analysis control sampling mechanism and this reported. So yes, 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 yes. And also you can see the software versions because this is a computational study. It told us to report versions and everything. This is crucial for what? Please, you can also see crucial for what? Reproducibility. It is really, really, really important. Okay, so now let's say now we've finally done our materials and method. We've done the whole experiment. We've spent over 1 hour in the lab and all. Now we have our results. Now the results now is okay. What did you find? So the major results now, what you want to do is now to represent this data set or this result in an engaging manner, in an engaging way, I would say. So if you have a large data set or a large result like tables, like maybe the table is longer, like 2 page long, and that would be too much. If there's a way you can make that data set into a figure, that would be nice because the figure will be what's more attractive and it will automatically reduce space and all. So your results, you present it in tables and figures, and you try to explain your result. You give a brief explanation of your results in what under his, I think, under just a brief explanation of the results. Person was the ethanol extract, the higher dose was better than the lower dose. The ethanol extract did not work for this, it worked for this. All those kind of things. You just give a brief explanation of that result. And also, your results should follow the same way your results should follow this exact way your materials and method were for. Like every experiment you reported in your materials and method, the arrangement of that result should also follow what the arrangement of what for the materials and method. So if you did something like you checked for the glucose level or something like that, you check for the glucose level. If that was the first experiment you did, you will report it in your results that this was the result of the what glucose level before what before the experiment, because it makes sense. You must show those results. So everything was what reported, and that is it. Okay, so the next thing is I always want to do is to show you a reverse comment everything. So is a result presentation, including the number of tables, present the study findings. So yes, and you can see sub-analysis, everything. So the idea here is what your results should show exactly what you did, like exactly what you got. Don't how will I say it? Don't report everything should still follow what chronologically. So again, don't report what you did last first. No, just start from the beginning, let it flow through and everything. So the last part is what discussion. And discussion basically is just now this is my result, right? I'm going to take my results. Yes, my result is good, my result is bad, but why is it bad? Why is it good too? And can you like compare to previous studies too? Okay, now nobody has done diabetes for ginger, right? But can you check if somebody has done something like bitter leaf for diabetes and check what the person reported to? When the person was reporting diabetes, what do you call it, bitter leaf for diabetes, did the person notice something related to this particular gene? The person noticed something related to this behavioral change or something like that. Those are the kind of things you take. So your discussion is basically explaining your results in details and comparing with previous findings. And also you can explain your gaps too. It's not every time you have a positive result. It's not every time the ginger will work, or it's not every time the ginger will work for cancer, ginger will work for diabetes. But in our case now, it's not every time the ginger will work for diabetes. So you should explain why did it not work? What happened? Is it that there's something is there something you think that is happening that you feel maybe because we did not do this experiment well, maybe there was a limitation on our part, maybe we should have used like 10 rats, we used 5 rats each. Maybe that is something that is affecting our destiny. Or the rats we used, all of them, they were what? Old, they were not young. Just I kind of explain those results. This result is not looking nice, but you must explain everything that happened. So the hypothesis that you stated in your introduction section, so try and check and confirm that, oh, this hypothesis, did I get it? Did I really see what was happening? Did I really predict what was going to happen? And also the trends and patterns that you notice from your distance. Oh, okay, we noticed that when you give just to a lower dose, at the lower dose of ethanol extract, you can you can see a very, very good therapeutic effect. But we notice that if you give an higher dose, automatically the therapeutic effect is reversed. That means the extract is too strong. So something like the dose level was not managed well. Those are the kind of things you explain. Okay, so your implication and limitation. So what does this implies now? So let's say we had like a good bad result from a mini experiment we just did there, and we cannot say, okay, say this is the truth now. So at this particular dose, we notice that we had this therapeutic effect, but at a higher dose, we notice we had this particular kind of thing. So the limitation of this study is that we did not have enough cash or we did not have enough money to carry out what we don't have enough grant funds to what carry out an extensive research on what determining the perfect dose that will what that will be therapeutically effective for what for this particular disease. So these are little industry. So every study has its own limitation because there is something you're not doing. If you do everything, there's something else you're still missing. There's something minor you're missing. So also be transparent about your weakness and can they be applied in real life future research and policies and okay, show credibility. And also we try and point out what is the future direction. So you cannot say in future study we hope to do what to carry out an extensive study on what understanding why this gene is this, why this gene is affected, why this dose that was therapeutic at low end, why this extract at therapeutic was therapeutic at low dose and really really bad at what and higher dose. So we try and understand. We'll try and say, oh, in future we will want to understand what is happening. We'll dedicate a study for it. So everything is a publication or a research study is like is a continuous kind of thing where you're like this is what I'm going to stop for now. They can publish, but I am going to continue. And that's why you've noticed most publications, they are always from a lab. So a lab will like carry out a study. And when you carry out that study, next set of people will continue that study or something like continue that research. Like this is working. This worked in this previous research. Can we continue now in this? So if you notice publications from a lab, they're always related. So this person might do this person something related to the previous research. And I think if you notice that with labs abroad and all, except that their publications are always on a particular topic, on a particular field. So that is the idea about results and discussion. Okay, so let's see what reviewers are saying. So is this interpretation of results and study conclusions supported by the drug and these have the result authors clearly emphasize the limitation of their study, theory, method, and argument. And so we'll see what the reviewer is telling us. The reviewer is telling us the discussion part should be described with what previous what finding. So this was a query to us. We wrote discussion. We just discussed our results. We did not really compare with previous stuff. We did not say, oh, this person did this, or the person got this. This person did this person did it, and we got this. But now with our studio, we've gotten something better, or we did not really get something better because what we did not have enough funds to what to do something better. So that's just the idea of research. Research is like a comparison thing where you have like you must compare, and you must just compare. That is just the major thing about research. Okay, so now the final part, which is like the abstract. So the abstract is a very, very, very clean thing. It is so I said, okay, just a clear and short summary in 250 words. So I've seen abstract at 150 words. So let's say 150 words to 350 words. And don't forget your words, your keywords. So abstract basically is like a summary of what happened. So now in my abstract now, I think we have a task at time to try and understand what an abstract is. We try and write out an abstract, I guess, but let's just see what will happen. Okay, so an abstract is like a very, very clear summary. So now in my abstract, now what I can now say in my abstract, I can just give a brief overview of what this mini experiment we did during this just workshop, this little workshop, and we've seen that, okay, diabetes is a major disease, right? It's a great metabolic disorder. It is affected so and so person, so and so person. Currently, ginger, a natural product, has been reported to have anti-cancer, anti-so and so, anti-obesity, anti-ulcer, anti-hypertension, what properties. And but no study has what carried out what the anti-diabetic potential of what has carried out or measured out the what anti-diabetic potential of ginger. Hence, in this study we did. So now, in this study, we took 20 rats, we took 40 rats, we divided them into 5 groups, we induced them with diabetes, we treated them with different doses of this. Good. After that, you now like say again the results part of your part. After we noticed that the lower dose was really, really marvelous. But the higher dose, what you fast, what the therapeutic effects we notice. So you fight those few results again, and at the end of the day, you say, we hope this study will push us to the next study and everything. That our study is limited in so and so aspects, and we hope to carry out further research in future. So an abstract too is basically, if you understand what I've just said now, an abstract is also broken down into what introduction or background, materials and method, um, and results and what and your discussion too. So the discussion or conclusion, discussion slash conclusion, I would say. So an abstract is just like a mini publication, but summarize your publication, the whole manuscript, the whole research you did, just summarize it in 250 words. But you must include what? An introduction, the materials and method, the results and what the discussion stroke what conclusion. So basically that is it for an abstract. And the next thing is I just want to show you some rejections that we've gotten over the years. So now when so I want to introduce, before I go down into this, please, if you have a question, please let me know, please. So you can unmute yourself. So I might just check the chat box. And okay, you can't see my screen. Okay, effect of calcination temperature. Okay, so if you have a questions, so virtual screening of compounds targeting microbiome and chase action site in geographical specific job resistance strong. That's a nice topic. Okay, so if you have a question, please, you can just like say. Okay, so in the absence of no question, I think I can continue. From Prince Lab. Okay, so now that I've given a brief overview of what your research publication should look like, or research study should contain, you know now that, okay, now that this undergraduate thesis I'm currently doing, or this undergraduate thesis I have done, right? Now I have carried out experiment. I carried out this experiment, right? Now let me just go and write an introduction on it. My materials and methods should be detailed on everything I did. My results, I should compile my results and I should give brief explanation of my results. And my discussion, I should make sure I discuss my results in more details and compare with other research, previous research. And with that now, I think by that you should be like, oh yes, now I am good to go. So if you have a manuscript of about um 30 pages or so. So all those writing and all those gathering of results, you like give you a manuscript of like 30 pages. And now you say, okay, now the next thing is what? I want to publish this work. So I want to publish my study, the antidiabetic effect of what ethanol extracts of ginger in rats, in Wista rats. Let's say that's our mini topic, sample topic for today. And we can say, okay, yes, I want to publish research. But now I think the next thing is now, so where should I publish this research? Which journal should I go to like? And why should I not submit to this journal? Or why should I submit to this journal? So let me just, before we go there into journal subscription, journal selection, let me just show you a few comments we've gotten from reviewers over the years, and let's see what is happening. So this research results reported are too premature for publication. More work is needed to substantiate the conclusion of your manuscript. So basically, this research it is great, but it's too small. So now imagine you want to submit to a top journal, like a very, very high journal. Let's say Nature journal. I think that Nature should be popular. But I think that should be the most popular journal ever. So in Nature publication, in Nature journal, and you are bringing out the anti-effects and the diabetic effect of ethanol extract. And we're like, you did a good research. Yes, it's good, but it is not just enough for us. Like, we need more than that. You only did rats. Why did you only do rats? Why did you not do Drosophila? Why did you not do more? Why did you not get the active component of these plants? So you can see these are gaps in research. So every research has a gap. So when you want to submit to a journal, you should know that each journals too, they have their own they have their standard. So their standard should like when you're coming with your publication, make sure your publication is reaching with these standards. So we could not get up to the standard of this journal. The journal was a good one. In fact, if I'm correct, another reviewer, it was automatically, it was reviewed, we submitted to a new journal, and it automatically got reviewed, like in a day or so. And you can see that journals differ. So if the standard of the journal is different from another standard of the journal. So let's see on that person now. Another person is telling us, this journal or this manuscript focuses on in silico modeling of so and so without validation of the model in either in vitro system and what in vivo animal system. And it's a current policy to know what accepts any in silico modeling or molecular document manuscript without what experimental validation, verification of the model in cellular and what animal, cellular or animal models. So now this is why this paper was rejected. This is a good publication. So again, it's a good draft, but you did in silico study, but I need you to like do something in the lab. Can you go to the lab and like test if that these compounds are working or these compounds are they really what you predicted in your in silico study? In our in our mini example of today, we said the anti-diabetic effect of ethanol. It might also be this is an in vivo study and in vitro study. So again, they might tell you, okay, it's good, it's good, it's good. You the diabetes and the you told us the potential of anti-diabetic potential of ginger, but can you like help us identify what is the active ingredient of that ginger that is making it have this anti-diabetic effect? Then that is another research on its own because you have to start doing what identifying isolate these compounds and identify the active ingredients, isolate them and test them one by one. That is another research. That's another research that can go on for another year or 2 years or so. So these are the things that you should understand when you're submitting to what journal. So now I should not submit anything to this journal that is what only computational based. So if I can just add a little bit of what in vitro or what in vivo assays, I should get what an acceptance in this publication at this journal. So let's look at something else. So why this publication was rejected? It is mandatory for the cell biochemistry and cell biophysics that the corresponding author should provide his or institutional email on the front page of the manuscript and in the necessary documents, including the cover letter and the correspondence. The current email of the corresponding author.com is not acceptable. The .com email is not acceptable. So this is a funny rejection now. So now this work was not rejected because it's not to our standard. It was not rejected because it is good, but can you just add more things? This was rejected because you did not follow our rules. Like we set out some rules there. We told you that if you want to submit to our journal, all corresponding authors should have an institutional email. We don't want random people without an institution to submit journals, to submit publications to us. We want an institutional email. So because you did not have an institutional email, we are going to reject you. And that is another reason for rejection. So let's look at another one, and which is thank you for submitting this manuscript to Tree Biotech. The work is interesting and appears well done. In fact, this is a very nice one. But what experiments are necessary for publication on Tree Biotech? Can you see? So these people are saying, you did a good job, but I will need you to carry out experimental validation. Go to the lab and confirm every computation, because it's a computational work, confirm every computational work you've done. And that is just the idea about what this journal. So next time if I want to submit, if I have a computational work in mind, I'm definitely not going to this journal. Because why? I did not do an experimental work. So the next thing is the final one is this paper on the antagonist was carried out to identify potential, but the text and presentation are easy to follow with good quality figures. The paper is interesting. The paper is interesting in deserving publication. However, few imperfection were observed and few points should be addressed before the publication. Okay, of this study before because of this. Okay, I recommend acceptation of the manuscript. So this is an acceptance based on so there was some very and everything. But let's just see something now. So now that we've seen this kind of queries I've gotten in the past that yeah, your publication is good, but your publication is not enough for us, right? Now that should lead us to a question. Damilola, how should I get the right publication? How should I get the right journal to submit my publication? And that is where we come into this topic, journal selection. Where should I publish my research? And so where should I publish my research? So there are things I want you to note. And so the first thing I want you to note is, okay, you did this research, right? So this is our research of anti-diabetic potential of ethanol extract of ginger in rats, right? Now, how should you submit it? Should I submit, because journals, and by the way, I will explain what this was mean. So what should I submit it to? What kind of journal should I submit it to? So before we go forward, let me just mention a few things, like important things you should note before doing anything. So when you have a manuscript, and we thinking from Melody was saying something like that, a manuscript is is an unpublished publication. I don't know if that's tautology or something. It's an unpublished work. That's a manuscript. So there's some modes. I think there's some English where I hear people say, have you submitted that journal? Have you submitted that journal? I think that is wrong. Have you submitted? You should write what should be. Have you submitted a manuscript? So a journal is a place that processes manuscripts, right? A journal is a place that publishes or shares research article in what's in a particular field. So if you notice, you hear something like Journal of what medicinal chemistry, Journal of what about physical chemistry, Journal of so and so chemistry, Journal of pharmacy, Journal of pharmaceutical research, Journal of pharmacy care, Journal of these are different journals. But the only thing that is connecting them is that what the publications in that journal are all related to what to a particular theme or a particular what specialization. So the Journal of Medicinal Chemistry now. I cannot go to Journal of Medicinal Chemistry and start telling them how to publish my anti-diabetic potential of ethanol extracts. No, you are not going to accept you. Why? Because medicinal chemistry basically needs you to what? To synthesize some compounds and test them in vitro or in vivo. So why am I coming to medicinal chemistry and telling them, oh, I did not synthesize this compound, but I just extracted it? We're not going to accept it. And that is the truth. Because this journal what has this particular field, it has a particular discipline, and you should abide by it. So automatically, somebody working on from metrics or something that should not go to medicinal chemistry, should not go to GCIM, should not go to Jack, should not go to this and what do you call his name of this journal? A lot of journals, Journal of Computational Biology and Chemistry should not go that far. You should go to you should go through another route and look for what journals that publish what similar data, publish similar articles relating to your study. So it's quite easy to search, and I think I'll try and find out one second. I think I'll try and do that. So let me just write that down. Do a simple search to identify journals for sample publication. Chat box publication in chat box. Okay, so a journal is a publication that a journal is a publication that shares a journal. I would say journal is like a journal is a place let me just use that place that shares research articles in a particular field. So researchers send their papers to journals so others can read, learn, and listen. So they're discipline specific. They publish on a schedule, and I will show us an example of something now. So when a journal, so let's say today we start a journal. The title of the journal is YPN, Young Pharmacists of Nigeria, Young Pharmacists of the Journal of YPN, something like that. So this is our first year, right? So every publication we published in the whole year, right? In this first year, this is 2025, right? Every publication we published in this 2025, our year of the year we started, right? It will be called issue 1. So there's an issue. So when you ask, oh, I need to get access to the issue, so the first issue of what Journal of YPN, we say, oh, that means what? The day we started, the year we started, that first year, that journal, the whole publications we have that we published in that first year, that is what an issue. That's issue 1. Issue 2 will be what the next year. Issue 3 will be what the next. So the whole publications for a year in a particular journal is called what issue. And also the next one is what do you call this? So there's issue, there's volume. So I think volume. Okay, so volume. I think I've missed it. Also volume and issue. So I think volume is the whole made in the year. The whole publication is made in the year, and issue determines. So now let's say now Journal of the YPN, Journal of YPN now wants to like, okay, so we want to be publishing journals, we want to make publications, or want to make acceptance, or want to publish maybe 4 times a year, quarterly, a year. So we'll say that means we have issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, issue 4. So that means we're just going to publish in what 4 issues. And you can be monthly too. So we have issue 1 to 12. And by the way, what do you call it? A volume is what all the publications published in that year. One issue now, you can now say saying a volume, let's say volume 1 is what the first year of inception. That is when they started, the Journal of YPN started 2024. So if I say volume 1, issue 2, that is okay. Go to the first year YPN was created, and that is issue 1. But we need volume 2. So which publication were made between what? So if a YPN is known to publish monthly, so it will be what? Which publications were made in what? In the month of what? February. And that is it. It's quite easy like that. So after that, that is a journal. So publishing house. So I think this is where people get quite confused. And when they say publishing house, they say listen, when they say publishing house, I think people don't really understand publishing house. They take publishing house as journals, if I'm correct, publishing house as journals and everything. So a publishing house is like so journals publish journals hold publications, right? So now a group of, I will not say relating journals, but a group of journals, since we said journals are particular to a specific field. So if a journal of YPN is for pharmacy, journal of maybe chemistry is for chemistry, journal of social and so is for another department, forestry. These journals together, they can come together under one publishing house. And that publishing house will be in charge of everything they do, the setting the money they collect, how much and everything, right? And that publishing house will I'll explain it now. So that publishing house will be determine how strong these journals are. So if journal of YPN, journal of chemistry, journal of forestry and everything, they can now come together and form, under a publishing house. And that publishing house, an example of publishing house you might have heard will be Willie, Taylor of Francis, Elsevier. That's a very, very popular one. You might have heard of this thing, Willie, Taylor of Francis. You might have Springer Open or Springer Nature, Springer. That is another publishing house. So you can notice we have a lot of Springer journals, right? All these journals are under what? Springer. So a lot of journals under what one publishing house. So and is there anything else interesting about those publishing houses again? So no, that is just it. So just we journals, the different journals from different specialization, everything come together, or they are under what a branch where they call what a publishing house. Publishing house determines how much you collect and everything. So the next thing and the last one, which is the most important thing. So if I might ask a question, why is Covenant University ranked better than and the other universities in Nigeria? Why is the number one university in Nigeria? This is the answer. The answer is this database. And the reason why is research. So the major reason why universities are ranked higher than another is because of research. So research output. And Mr. Famelo, they talked about something there. He was saying anytime you are making publications, you must make sure these publications are quality publications, right? And this database is the one that determines the quality database, the quality publication you're making. So it's not that, oh, I have a publication, I want to go and publish fast. Let's go and publish it fast. Then you publish it. Then it doesn't add anything to your university. It doesn't add anything to your university ranking. So universities want to grow, they want to increase in rank, they want to be number one. So the only way to do that is what? You publish in what? Database that are what? Are well known or are top quality. And databases, example of databases are what? The Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is a very, very popular database. Scopus is a very, very popular database. Web of Science is a popular database, and PubMed. DOEG is a popular database too. Web of Science, Scopus, and everything. But at the end of the class, we'll notice that if you want to increase your university ranking, please, there's some database you should not publish in. So I think sometimes you'll not be hearing some keywords like, okay, I want to check which journal, let's say Journal of APJ or Journal of YPN. I want to check if they're indexed or they're abstracted in somewhere in a particular database. So you not start looking at some list of numbers. We'll do an example here. We'll see, oh, YPN, I want to submit my paper. Are you guys indexed in Scopus? Are you guys indexed in PubMed? No, you guys are not indexed. I cannot submit my paper there. Because if I submit my paper to Journal of YPN without being indexed in Scopus, what do you call it? Indexed in Scopus, indexed in PubMed, Web of Science, then there's a very low chance that these journals are not they're not top rated, or they're not really, really good. It's the truth, but there's a kind of thing bias towards them, but we'll show more example. I will share an example about that. And so for example, now, sorry, I just want to show you this little citation. This is an upper citation. So let's just do something quickly. So you can see the names highlighted in green. These are the author's name, right? The year highlighted in blue is the year of publication. So this one I rated in, call it pink. So Pre-Pharmacy Predators of Success and Critical Thinking Skills. That is the topic, or that is the title of that research article of research publication or something like that. Then pharmacotherapy, the Journal of Human Pharmacology and Drug Therapy, that is what the name of the journal. Can you see that the publishing house is not important? The database is not important in what in your citation. But once we click on this link, once we check this publication, you will now see what we'll be able to see what the database, the journal is indexed in, and the publishing house. So pharmacotherapy. So 21 means what volume 21, and 7 in brackets means what the issue. So the way I'm looking at this now, so this is the 7th publication. This is the 7th issue they've released in what in a year, and this is the 21st year since what inception. That is it. And 842 to 849 what the pages on what on an issue on an issue. That is just the answer. On an issue on a volume, I can't really say. But I will say an issue. I'll say an issue. Well, I'll say an issue. I'll make sure I confirm that. Okay, so now that you understand journal publishing house and database, so I think now we can now say, okay, now that I have this information now, my manuscript is still with me now, and I've listened to everything you said. You've told me about journals, the indexing and everything, but okay, how will I now identify a journal that is fake, a journal that just wants to collect my money? So the first thing you should know about predatory journals, and that's a very common name for them, is, and by the way, predatory journals don't do anything to the ranking of universities. They are fake. They don't want to the ranking. They just like I write rubbish today. I just write A plus A plus A plus A plus A. I write it like 20 pages and I give it to a journal and then to publish it. And I tell them, oh, see, publish it and I'll give you this money. I'll give you 100,000 euro. And the journal say, nothing. Just take it and publishes it. And you see all this in Google Scholar and you start sharing and you say, oh, I made this publication, so and so. But behind the scene, you actually paid money to do it. But there are some things I was still comment about payment of money and regarding to what journal predatory status or what. So first and foremost, if you want to know a predatory journal, the first thing they will ask you is what you ask you to pay. They will ask you to pay. There is no predatory journal that will not ask you to pay. But that is major. I think that's a major one. There are minors that won't ask you to pay, but a journal will ask you to pay. Number 2 is what not indexed in the scope in the top databases. So I mentioned what databases are, right? I said the example is Scopus, Web of Science, and PubMed. So the way I work, I try to make sure every publication I have is either Scopus Index, Web of Science Index, and PubMed Index. In fact, the Scopus Index is a really, really, really important one. Your professors and your lecturers in school, this is really, really important because promotion is determined on what? On these databases. So before you become a professor in my school, if I'm correct, I think you need 12 Scopus database, Scopus Index publication. Scopus Index publication, become a professor, in case Scopus Index publication, where you're the first author, where you're something like that. So these are really, really cool. And the reason why you must do this is because before you get a Scopus Index publication, or before you publish in a Scopus Index journal, you must have done quality research, because these journals must not tolerate nonsense for them to be indexed in Scopus. So, but now there are some indexing database like Google Scholar. I think anybody can be indexed in Google Scholar. Not a shade to them, but I feel the 3 important databases that will improve ranking, university ranking and everything, increase your status. Like now, Melody was ranked top 2% scientist in Nigeria last year. The reason was because of what? Is Scopus indexed. Is Scopus ranking. So it is not Google Scholar ranking. It was not his citations on Google Scholar that they saw them to ranking top 2%. No, it was a Scopus ranking. So that's like a very, very good example. So Melody might have I think he said he had 70 publications, right? I mean, so might have 70 plus publications. But if my publications are not in any of these databases or are not indexed in journals in any of these databases, what is going to happen is I will have 70 publications for myself. But when they're doing top 1% scientists in Africa, top 2%, I'll be looking at myself, I'll be looking at my 70 publications. I'm saying, I have the same thing with Melody now. Why is my name not there? But you published in where? In journals that are not they're not recognized. So that is a really, really important thing. So immediately you want to make a journal, you want to choose a journal, look at the indexing. Web of Science, Scopus, or PubMed. It is not a must they have the 3 of them. If they have 1, at least I can say, be rest assured, that is a good journal. If they have 2, the better. If they have 3, great. Beautiful. That is the best thing. And also, another way you can know is what short submission to acceptance time. So imagine something. I remember when I was working at this thing at this university, I was told to review a lecturer's promotion thing. So they gave me his compendium. So a compendium is like a group of your projects, your previous research, your research and everything. And they told me to look through the compendium and like determine if this lecturer is like deemed for promotion or so. And I was looking at the compendium and I was reading it. This is a lecture that is going to be an HOD or something like that. And we're looking. And I was like, wait, you submitted a journal 11th of March. And the journal was, and you submitted a publication 11th of March. And the publication was accepted 13th of March. I'm like, you're not afraid. Why will you put that on your compendium? Because why will your publication be accepted? You submitted 11. So they reviewed one day and gave you acceptance in 30 days. Please, that is a lie. That is a very, very, very big lie. So as long as it is not data in brief, is any letter to editor too, I think yes. But you cannot say a research article that you saw today, you did your research, you wrote the paper, you submitted 12th of March, and 14th of March, you are getting an acceptance, your work is online, and you're telling me I should not be suspicious. That is a predatory journal. So for that lecture, and I saw about 10 of them in that compendium. I was just laughing when I was taking it out. I was like, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake. So it's like you are not adding to the status of the university. You're bringing the university down by what? Publishing in predatory journals. And besides your good research, and some people might not actually know too again, your research you told for in the old lab and all, you're not submitting to a journal that doesn't even see anything or something, that doesn't give value to your work. So they'll ask you to pay, they'll review it in a short period of time. You're not adding anything to yourself because you're in terms of ranking and everything. There's nothing you're really doing. So these are really, really important things to do. And suspiciously high impact factor. So impact factor is like a rating. So a rating of like how universities are rated across Nigeria. So impact factors is what is used to rate journals. So in a particular field, I might say, but in a particular field, chemistry, this impact factor, Journal of Medicinal Chemistry impact factor can be higher than what Journal of Computational Biology and Chemistry and everything. But general impact factor is a very, very good thing to determine. So for undergraduate research now, the highest impact factor I might say an undergrad can get for a research article. I will say minus public health and everything. But the highest research you can get should be rating from an average of 3 impact factor. So you can come to a 3 impact factor, like a publication. You can get a publication in a very good journal, which is 3 impact factor, and that is a very, very good one. That's a very, very good one. So impact factors are really, really good way. When I imagine something, imagine two of us were submitting a research article on this anti-diabetic ethanol extract of ginger in Wister rats. And let's say you are submitting anti-diabetic, I'm submitting antioxidant property of ginger in Wister rats. And you submitted to the journal, and the journal is telling you the impact factor is 20 something 0.7. That's the impact factor is 27.7. I'll be 29.7, and you need to look at it. And they got your work, they collected your work and they published it. And you look at yourself, what did I do that will make a journal with 29.7 impact factor? I set my work. Then that is when you know that that is a predatory journal. That is a very, very good one. That's a very, very good sign of a predatory journal. And those most sponsors, like, I don't think they accept money. I think you don't even pay, I guess. They don't pay. So what they do is they have this high ridiculous impact factor they set, and you're like, oh, I'm publishing the 30 point something impact factor, and you publish and you're like, but for me that I submitted it and all, me that I'm doing antioxidant of the same topic and everything, I cannot get past a 1 point something impact factor in top journals or in top index in top ranked or top abstracted index journals, journals. And you're like, are you getting 20 something? Are you getting a publication in a 29.7 impact factor journal? And me, I cannot get in this. Just compare the indexing factor or the impact factor. You will not see, oh, you are not even indexing Scopus. 29.7, you're not indexing Scopus, you're not indexing Web of Science, you're not indexing PubMed. Then what are you really doing? How is 29.7 coming into place? Then you now see them, they'll pack Google Scholar, Japan, There are some funny, what do you call it? Funny indexing and abstracting services. We'll check a lot of them today. So this with this few this thing, I think you can be able to identify a journal. So now, when you have a publication, make sure before you submit, does this journal is it indexed in what? Is this indexed in this top is this indexed in Scopus? Is this in the Web of Science? Because you want to bring what this into yourself, and that's the major thing. So now there's some secrets you should know, and that is a lot of Nigerian journals are not indexed in this. In fact, if I'm correct, the only journals I know that are indexed from Nigeria that are indexed in Scopus, Scopus I would say is the Tropical Natural Medicine or something like that, Tropical Journal of Natural Medicine, and Babcock University. So Babcock University has a Scopus Index journal with an impact factor of 0 point something, 0.8 or something. You can see the low impact factor, low impact factor. So, and so you should know that if a journal is Scopus indexed, Web of Science index, PubMed index, and they ask you for money, now the money is not meant for money is not meant for, okay, you're giving us money to publish your work. The money is meant for one thing, and this is called what? Open access. So when you are going to do your research, or when you're doing your undergraduate thesis, they told you to go online and go and look at research document now. Go and look at, I'm very sure you might have come across a publication that you saw, and like, oh, this publication is saying what I want, but let me read it well. Then you click on it, and automatically you see the thing is locked, and it is asking for maybe $15 or 15 euros to unlock. I'm like, oh shit, I don't have money. I have to what? Find another way to use. Then I think a popular site we use was SkyUp to like check if so these publications are ready on SkyUp or so. So there's something called open access, which means that when you publish your work or when your work has been reviewed, accepted, if you want it to open to the world so that others can read it, and when people are reading your work, people have access to your work, the citations increase in real time because I have access to this work. So automatically, I read everything here. Oh, this is relating to me. Yes, and I cite compared to somebody that's going to there look for the work and they say, this work has something about I want to read it well. I can't see this one. I can't access the work like this. Automatically, citation is reducing because what you don't. The more access you have to your work, the higher your citation. And all. So but the only thing you should know is that a journal is asking me to pay for money, or a journal is saying open access thing. There's an open access field. There's a subscription. So most journals, what they have two traditional method of subscription type. So two traditional method of publishing. So publishing choice. So you must publish either open access or subscription. So subscription is you are going to publish your work, yes, but you and your co-authors will have access to it for maybe a year or so, like 30 days alone, correct? You have access to the original copy in 30 days, but immediately after that 30 days, your work is locked. So only people that are subscribed to that journal will have access to that paper. And automatically, if you look at it like that, if you now tell your friend in Nigeria that, oh, please, I've published the work, or you guys go and sit, and they are going to there and they say, I cannot see your full work. What's happening? They say I should pay money. Oh, and I say, oh, sorry, you can't do anything. So when you want people to read your work now, so open access is that open access for Nigerians to Nigerians is really, really terrible. You can't really afford it. It's really, really expensive. They go as far as $10,000, and I don't think anybody's ready to put $10,000 to what? To drop a paper. So I think the cheapest open access I've seen in Nigeria is Tropical Journal of Natural Product. I can't remember. It's in Uniben. I think the editor is at Uniben, a professor at Uniben. So I think it's 100,000 naira. That is, and it's a Scopus index. That is a very, very good one. And the next one is Babcock. I think Babcock were telling us 150 or so, I guess. So, but open access abroad, we are going to be talking of millions, 2 million, 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, and everything like that. Okay, so with these few things I've said, I think it will be very, very, very easy now for you to like, oh, when you are going to choose a journal for this research you've told day and night for, then if predatory journal is telling you, we are going to accept your work, we are going to accept your work, just give us $100, give us $10 and everything. And you say, $10 is 15,000 naira. Well, let me send it fast. And you send it fast, and your work automatically is published. And you share it on your WhatsApp status on your LinkedIn that, I have published my research on undergraduate or undergraduate research. People are happy to you, but you're not adding any impact to yourself. You're not adding there's nothing you're adding because that paper is long gone. It's long gone. This is really, really, really important. Really, really, really important. Um, so we're going to do an activity. We're going to do an activity, and so what I'm going to do is, so I would like people to continue adding their research topic, like your undergraduate research topic, and let's identify two potential journals for submission. So let's try something. Okay. Okay. So how we do that? So why we do that? So thank you very much. So questions and let's see the if we'll come back to the questions, but let's see let's see your questions, please. Yeah, please, you can ask your questions. I think you can mute yourself. Mr. Tima,
All right. Thank you so much for that wonderful section, and it was quite impactful. Thank you so much. Please, can we drop a lot of reactions for our facilitators? Thank you for encouraging us and telling us insights on how to identify predatory journals. It's not just about just publishing. We get to see all those things on LinkedIn. He said, I'm happy to share, I have published this, I've published this. And it's not going to look as, what am I doing with my life? I've not done anything. Not knowing
yeah,
that they just wasted their time. And no, the more people publish in all these predatory journals, it makes them, to me, I feel it make them lose credibility, because you've published
yeah,
a lot
right,
of things in
correct. I
lots of
told
it
correct
doesn't
now.
give you that credibility, and people, you, that you've just wasted time, and to some extent people start doubting your efficiency. So thank you so much for that. Please, if you have questions, if you cannot raise up your hand, because I can see two hands raised up, you can kindly use the chat box. So I'm going to be starting with the first question that was dropped on the chat box. I saw that. Just a minute. Okay, this one was written by Kamaldeen Sulaimon. It says that, how can we know a research gap? Is there any software useful? So please, sir, how can we know what research gap we can, just fill in and create a solution, and what software can we use to identify this research gap? Do you understand my question?
Yes, I understand clearly. Okay, so regarding research gap, so I don't know, AI is taking over the whole space, the whole research thing now. In fact, I think research gets and Google Scholar recently introduced something. So, but research gap is more of a duty of like identifying the research gap is more of a duty of the researcher himself. Like it is up to you yourself. Like I have a research before you even have identify a research gap. You should have a research in mind. Like this is what I want to do, right? Then the research gap will come up later. Like okay, this is what I want to do. Or sometimes you might have your research gap and say, oh, this is what I have seen, right? So it is more of about experience, about reading and everything. So now, like now, research gap now. So currently, I'm trying to work on something by the end of the year. And what I'm trying to work on is more of active learning, reinforcement learning, and everything in drug design. So my research gap is that nobody has done that in Africa. Nobody has done that in Nigeria. That is a very, very crazy research gap because, or I can say my research gap is nobody has applied that particular skill or technique to what to a particular protein I'm interested in. And basically, so the research gap is coming literally and basically from you, from your detailed literature review. And regarding software for it, I don't know. I won't advise software because I don't know. I remember being introduced to a particular software to help with research and everything, but I don't know. I think I use the manual wheel, which I've been using for a while. So I just read, and I try to understand what is the gap here, and all. That is just the idea. So there's no, I won't advise, I don't know, there's no software I can recommend one. And research gap basically is up to you. You must do your literature review yourself, like you read it and everything. So no software, I don't know if a software will tell you this is done. Because if a software is telling you this is the research gap, I'm very sure the software is going to compare studies that have been done abroad, done across the world. And even in Nigeria, we're trying to find a research gap in the world. It was like, I don't know, I think we'll be limited because there are some things that if these abroad people have done and if these people abroad have done and they've done this research and they have identified this as a gap, I don't know, the right equipment and the right access to facilities and everything here in Nigeria to cover that research gap. So basically, research gap is coming from you yourself and from what you've seen. Basically, that's what I was saying.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your answer. Fam Precious Ajiboro, please can you say your question? Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name well. Precious, can you hear me? Precious, are you there? Okay, I think
Okay, so while we wait for pressure, I think we can
Mr.
just do
Annie, I
something
can't.
quickly.
All right, there's another hand raised. Please, can you
Okay.
take your question, please, quickly?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you
I
perfect.
can.
Okay, my question is, okay, there is this project work I actually worked on, but then, like, I'm finding issues trying to, like, my final year project actually worked on something,
Okay.
like, it's related to drug design, like in silico.
Oh, that's fine. That's my research.
I think I worked with you and the last speaker on Diphthera. I don't know if you are the one.
Oh, diphtheria work with from doing.
Yes, but I don't know if you are
Oh,
the one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm the one, second or two.
Okay. Okay, my issue now is finding a particular journal because I worked on
Okay,
Parkinson. So, like, having this course is finding a particular journal because I use phytochemicals,
okay. So
and
let's use
because
your.
my one supervisor is actually very busy,
So okay,
so
the
I don't
first thing,
want.
the first thing I will ask is what exactly did you do? So what did you do? You said you used in silico study for phytochemicals, right? So what exactly did you do with those compounds? I'm very sure you
The
did
what I
doc.
did, yes, I docs. What I actually did
There are
was to
people.
identify plants that have phytochemicals that are actually used to manage Parkinson's disease. No,
Correct,
neurodegenerative disease doesn't have cure. They actually manage them.
correct.
So that's what I did.
Yeah,
So I looked for compounds. Although I couldn't do molecular dynamics because I didn't have the financial capacity to do it.
correct.
So I stopped at the normal Swiss ADME
Okay, good. So
prediction and I couldn't
so
go on
so
it.
okay, so let me come in here. So if you notice when I was starting, I was when I was handing the whole research, the whole the whole part of research. If you notice, I said research paper. I told you about some. I showed you some rejections I got from journals, right? I showed you some
Yes.
rejections, and you're telling me it is good, it is good, it is fine, but can you just do this? Now, the reason why your work will be rejected, though, is a very high chance your work will not be accepted. Why? Is because these journals now we want molecular dynamic simulation. So, in fact, I was with Farm doing, listen, me and Farm doing, we've been doing our research and everything. In fact, we started increasing from 100 nanoseconds to 200 nanoseconds. We want to like improve our research too. So, if you want higher publications, and I'm very sure now, because things are really, really, things are really, really, I'll say the word crazy now, because a lot of journals don't accept in silico computational work. They feel it's limited. They feel it's like a prediction. So, why you pushing us predictions? You should do some confirmation and everything. And that's one of the goal of Chemical Informatics Academy, where we're trying to teach people more. It is not just computational kind of thing. It's no more docking, it's no more Swiss admits, it's no more that. You can introduce new things to this thing. You can introduce machine learning, you can introduce deep learning, you can introduce generative AI and everything to this thing. So, and also in Chemical Informatics Academy, we're hoping to get by the end of the year. So it starts up because of this limitation of people not able to do not being able to do molecular dynamic simulation. So we're planning to set up something by the end of the month. I think we'll send out information to regarding this to help reduce the price of molecular dynamic simulation. So molecular dynamic simulation is very, very expensive, about 20,000 to 30,000. And in Nigeria, it's about 100,000. So Chemical Informatics Academy, we are planning to, at the end of the month, we'll be getting a supercomputer and to help increase or to help drop the price of what molecular dynamic simulation. So and also, let's say something quickly. Miss Precious, you can go, please, while we check something.
Precious, are you there to take your questions? Although we have some questions in the chat
Okay,
box. I don't know if I could read it or we should go ahead with your task.
okay, let's just do the tax piece, so we can just rush quickly.
All right, let's
Okay,
do
so,
the task.
so regarding Mr. the previous the person asked the question the last time. So now, Parkinson disease, he worked on Parkinson disease and he did an in silico study, right? So let's say Switzerland. So if I was to look for Switzerland, so if I was to look at this, okay, so I think you can hear me well. So my Google Scholar is work and back to work. And now we can see a study like this now. Okay, so let's say study. This is another study. So you said they use a particular protein, right? So in fact, this is another study. This is a study. So let's see what is happening. What did these people do differently? So from the abstract, which I told you is like the quick summary of everything, you can see these guys now, they did the molecular docking you did, right? The same molecular docking you did, they did it. They did something extra. They did filtering by NPC cool of 5, right? They did that again. The same hardmates prediction you did, they did it. But can you see, they did molecular dynamic or simulation for 100 nanoseconds. So you can see automatically your work, if you did molecular dynamic simulation, there's a high chance your work can be published there. But because of that lack of molecular dynamic simulation, there's nobody, they're not going to accept it. If they are going to review it, their reviewers are going to tell you to what? Conduct molecular dynamic simulation. So let's look at another person to see if we are checking, we're saying the truth. Okay, so this person did, so this is a conference paper. This is a conference paper, and this is this year. This is surprising. So what did this person do? So this person did admits and good. This person did your work, exactly your work. So there's a high chance that was, if you apply to this conference and use this person, and you and these guys were competing for this conference paper, there's a high chance you get it too. And this was just last year. So this is a conference paper. Please note that conference paper is different from a research paper. Conference paper, you can just publish existing work, a work that is ongoing or something like that. So this paper now, if you submitted for this conference, there's a high chance what you just said now, your topic in mind, it will have gone through. To be accepted because everything you did, the same person did. So that's a very, very good way to assess what. So this is a this thing, conference paper. So let's look at the last person. And this person did what? The same thing you did, you dogged and everything. But you can see something. Okay, what else did they do? They did admits, which you did too. Okay, docking analysis. Can you see now? They said they did what? Molecular dynamic simulation analysis. So you can see what is limiting your research now from being published is what? The absence of what? Molecular dynamic simulation. So that is just the truth about it. So it's not that your work is not good for publication. You just need to do an extra study. There's no really, I don't think there's any journal now that we happily accept molecular docking or computational, a full computational study paper without molecular dynamic simulation. I don't think there's any other person. I don't think there's any other journal. I don't think there's any journal. So let me see. Okay, so draft a research abstract and identify 2 potential. So based on this thing, so if I can just come here and come to a new document. So based on my research, the basic research we did, so you can see, I can just say diabetes is something. Diabetes is so and so and so and so and so. It affects so and so. It affects so and so and so and so and so and so. So, however, when I stop there, I can see ginger is a natural. Ginger has been reported for its various so beneficial effects. Then I can now start coming down to what to say. To say something like okay. However, no study has reported what the anti-diabetic effect of what of ginger in Wister rats. So you can just continue. So what did we now do? Hence your study. What did you do? You took so and so. You took 20 rats. You divided 20 rats into 5 groups: positive, this, negative, and this and this and this. Then you do what? You administered them. You induced diabetes. you treated diabetes with your ginger extract, so so and so and so, and your result and everything. And basically, that's the abstract. So abstract is just a brief conclusion, a brief discussion of a brief overview of what you did in your research and all. A very, very brief overview. So I think so. There's someone in the chat box that gave us a. So she won't notice yes. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is a very good question. So if you notice your work has been published in a predatory journal, can you? No, no, no. Don't stress yourself. Just take it as you've lost. Take it as take it as an hell. Like just you've lost that already. So what I would advise to do is just go on and start a new one. But next time, you do it. And this is a very popular um, this is a very, very popular, what do you call it? A popular, this is very known with researchers, early researchers. Like me now, when I was starting out in 2021, what I noticed was I wanted to publish. And not really I wanted to publish, but I wanted to write something to be published. And I was writing, I was getting rejected. I think almost all those rejection I showed you guys was just getting rejected. And what I just did was one day, I think if I can show you my Google Scholar profile, one day, I think I just saw a journal. I saw a journal and I submitted the journal. I just submitted it. So a journal, and you will not believe this journal took a year. It was not reviewed. And the next thing I got was what? It was an acceptance. So automatically, when I saw an acceptance, I knew no, this is a predictive journal. So let me find that publication for you. So you see, this is a publication I'm not proud. You will never see this on my CV or my. In fact, if there's a way to remove this from my Google profile, Google Scholar profile, I will do it. I'll happily do it. So let's look at the Journal of Molecular Docking. And this was one of the first publications I made. And this is a predatory journal per se. So I would not really say predatory journal, but at least if they do not collect money from my hand, I will not say the predatory word. But you can see the indexing. And like we said, right? So you just come here and see indexed by what? DOJ. Can you see anything like Scopus, Web of Science, PubMed here? No. So automatically, I won't advise you to publish in this kind of journal. Now you can see something like Scopus here, right? That's the like they're not indexed in Scopus. This is where you should look up. Indexed by what? This is it. So you can see the index in Google Scholar. That is why that is the database. That is why I can happily search it on what? On Google Scholar. So now let me see if there's another journal, another publication that has so another publication that has this thing. So so now once I learned about that, I think I can do something like this. Once I can do. Okay, so good. So once I learned about that, so it became very, very, very easy for me. Very, very easy for me. So now this is another journal. So this was one of our first publication. So now remember when we talked about publishing also and abstracting an index, right? I've shown you an example of abstracting an index. But now look at this Springer. The name of the journal is what? Bulletin of National Research Center. And the publishing house is what? Springer Nature. Now let's check the indexing. So this is a publication I made in year 2021 or 2022, if I'm correct. So let's look at this journal. This is the more information about the journal. And you can see if you come down, if I'm correct, or if you come, I'm coming and just look for it as well. More about metrics. So you check the metrics. Okay, so let me see. Okay. There's something here. I think I'm missing something here. Okay, so there's something they should report. There's something they should report in all Springer works. So if I'm not seeing this here, I'm going to try a new journal. So let me try something else. So, okay, yeah, let's see this one. So, okay, so Arabian Journal of Chemistry, that's the journal. So now once you see Science Direct, I think your brain should come to what? This is a Scopus Index journal, right? And you can see, so this is a Scopus Index journal. And if I can see something transferred to us, so this has been transferred to another journal. Let's look at something more stable. In silico pharmacology. Okay, so So in silico pharmacology now, Springer nature again too. So, and if you come to in silico pharmacology, and if you come down, yes, and this is what I've been looking for. And okay, so is it where I can minimize this? Okay, no, so you can see abstracted and indexed thing. Good. So when you want to publish a journal, I told you, just come here. This is what will guide you. So bioasis, now all these things are not important, at least in Nigeria, the Nigeria education system. I don't think all these abstracts are really important if you want to be promoted. Embarrassing, this ones are not important. At least PubMed this is PubMed Central, and this is one really, really important. That's why I've published quite a lot in this publication, so in this journal. So React is a chemistry kind of thing, and this is it. So this is why this is a good journal, because of what PubMed, and you can see it is in Springer Nature. That's a very, very fine thing. This is a very fine thing to be happy about. So let's see something else. Good. So this was a journal that I published without MD simulation, but they will never accept it again. They started rejecting papers like this. So you can see the Springer Nature 2 again, Proceedings of Indian National Association. And you can see the indexing. Can you see Scopus what's indexed? So this is a very, very good one. You can see all this indexing here. You can see it's not even PubMed indexed. It is Scopus indexed. And that is a very, very good thing to be happy about. That's a very, very good thing to be happy about. So I think that is a very, very brief overview of is there anything I want to show again? Is there anything I want to show again? So if I can show you one more. But this one is in this is 2023. Okay, so if I can show you this and I show you this. Okay, good. So this is computational biology and chemistry. Once you see Science Direct, just bring your mind to Elsevier. So Elsevier is a publishing house, and the name of the journal is computational biology and chemistry. This is the impact factor. Remember, I talked about impact factor. Site score is still an average of papers that have been cited. The citation per paper they published, I guess. And this is if you see about, you come to journal insights, if I'm correct. Yeah, you see, yep, you can see this abstracting and indexing. You can see Scopus indexed, and this is exactly what you need. So that is it, and I think that should help out with everything you understand, everything you want to access. So thank you very, very, very much. And can you suggest advanced courses or topics for further exploration in this field? So what field exactly? So please, I want you to, from Nafisa, I want you to understand what field. So if it's computational field, what we do at Cambridge Informatics Academy is we try to introduce you to machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, to drug discovery, and make sure and research field. Research has its part, Dr. from Nafisa. So what's part of research? What's part of research? Journals that can use accept this in silico evaluation of Nigerian medicinal plants with antipo. After molecular dynamics, you have a very good publication. After molecular dynamics and docking and molecular dynamics estimation, and how long was a molecular dynamics estimation? That's another question. But if it's above 100 nanoseconds, you have a very, very good, chance of what's getting published. So thank you very much, everyone. And it was really great time gisting with you guys. And thank you very much from Tati.
There's a question by Favor. From Favor is asking, how can one join? Come in, let me read the question very
Okay,
well.
how can join one? Came from Matsakame. Oh, I sent. There's a link on my. There's a link. We can check us on LinkedIn. Just search Came from Matsakame Academy. Also, my slide. I'm going to share it to the group. So there's a link attached to it where you can just send. We have a basic course where we teach introduction to molecular docking using Schrodinger, not Autodoc and others. Those are good things. So Schrodinger and you learn how to use machine learning for chemistry and machine learning for drug design. So from Nafisa, general, I don't know. It depends on your field. Research, yeah, research is like currently now I'm in computational drug design, which I can now branch out into medicinal chemistry and organic synthesis. I'm not interested in pharmacometrics. I'm not interested in bioinformatics. So that's another research field. So in my research field, which I know well, if you want to advance, you have to get more coding and everything. But In other fields, I don't really know much about that. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much, from today.
Okay. Wow, please can we just drop a lot of reactions? Thank you so much for taking your time to answer all our questions. Thank you for, me as a person, whenever somebody posts or gives that publications on LinkedIn, that I'm glad to announce that I was like, these people they are just doing it hot, 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 not even knowing that there are some things that you have to check out though. It's not all journals that you have to just put your publications in, so that it's not going to be a wasted effort. Thank you for making it known that you have to check the indexing before you just submit your journal, so that they will not make all our efforts be in vain. So Farm Chris, are we taking the questions now, the quiz? Farm Chris, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you. The quiz will be sent to the group chat after this session, so we can round
Okay.
up. Yes.
All right, all right, all right. So thank you everyone for those people that have been around since day one, day two, day three. Thank you, and I hope that all these things that we have learned is not just going to end today, because we can see that all our facilitators, they didn't just give us what was in their head. They put passion and they ensure that everything was explained in simple details. So it's going to be a good thing if after these things we see all our publications, in high flying journals, in high flying journals, we see them being published, so that it doesn't just end here. So thank you so much on behalf of YPG Lagos. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And also please do well to follow all our facilitators on their LinkedIn profile. That's Farm Melody, Farm Adedoyin, and also Mr. Damilola Bodun. God bless you and have a lovely night rest. Thank you so much. Have a lovely night rest, everyone. Bye bye.